Welcome to the creative brain of Dean Hawk. Get ready to be challenged, inspired, and equipped to become a better ministry leader.
Hey, it's November. The end of the year is fast approaching. This is Dean Hawk. Thank you for joining our podcast today. I want to challenge you to go back and listen to last month's podcast if you missed it. I entitled it Shepherds or Snipers, When Pastors Take Aim at Each Other. Please check it out, pass it on, share it. But today's topic is we look at our role as leaders, as pastors, and as shepherds. I want to share with you about a heart transplant. What does it mean? How do we transplant our heart into the hearts of our team, our staff, and most of all, our heart into the people that call us pastor? How do we get what's inside of us and invest it inside of them? And I'm just going to share what I have done now for almost 45 years. And when we understand leadership, the lowest form of leadership is positional and title, that you have the title and people follow you because you have a title. But I want a staff that will lay down their life for me. I want a church that when I yell, "Charge!" that they follow me up the hill and they run into battle. I want people who will serve and follow me because they love me, not because they fear me. And so how do we make that happen? And so here's what I would say. When you walk in the building, when you walk in the room, are people intimidated by your presence? Or does the atmosphere change in a negative way of, "Oh, he's here, pastor's here"? Some people say, well, that's because they respect the gift. No, it's because they're afraid of you. What are we afraid of? The lowest form of leading people is to keep them guessing. So I want to share several principles on how we make a heart transfer. And the first one, no big revelations here, but just some reminder and some truth for us. The first one is serve them. If you want them to capture your heart, serve them. We know the words of Jesus. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be a slave to all. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. And here's what I have seen, is there are a lot of pastors out there, not you guys, other pastors out there who want to be served rather than to serve. They get an elitist, I'm better than you kind of attitude. I'll never forget, this was 20 plus years ago, 25 years ago actually. It's when I was traveling and speaking before I was a pastor of a local church. I was a guest speaker at a church. We're in another state, another place, and I was one of several guest speakers for the camp meeting. I was doing the youth portion, and it was a rural community, so there were no restaurants to have a meal afterwards. And the pastor, if you're watching on video, you can see me. I'm sitting on the side of the table, and the pastor is sitting at the head of the table to my right. I'm seated to his left. And they've got beautiful tablecloths and china, and their members are serving all of these men and women, speakers and men and women of God. And they set the pastor's plate down, and you see his eyes begin to scan. And all of a sudden, he pounds the table, and he goes, and he looks around and behind him, trying to find one of his volunteers. He goes, "Where is the salt?" I was like, this dude's mad over salt. But I'm going to tell you what I saw in the young lady's eyes that was across the table from me to his right. I saw fear grip her face. She had missed putting salt on the table. This wasn't a minor detail. This had become a major tragedy that she had forgot to put salt on the table. She feared her pastor. We never want them to fear us. we desire for them to love us. And I have found if you want to gain access to people's hearts is by serving them. The Bible says we can win over our enemies by what? By heaping coals of fire on their head by doing what? By doing good. Even the way we can win over the critics within our church who aren't sure if they like us or who maybe don't like our teaching style, we can win them over by doing good to them and serving them. When our church was a church plant for the first 2 years, I was pushing carts. I was pushing, setting up and running cables. I was helping with the setup and tear down every week, and I'm the senior pastor. I love the way our staff, just last month, we had our volunteer appreciation dinner, and our entire staff served several hundred volunteers a beautiful meal and just blessed them and loved them and showed value to them. Secondly, number one is to serve them. Number two is esteem them as friends. Oh, wait a second. What are you talking about? You know, if you let people into the friend world, then they're not going to respect you. Well, I guess Jesus didn't hear that, because Jesus said, greater love has no one than this, that he laid down his life for his friends. He said, you are my friends if you do what I command. I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I've called you friends, for everything that I learned from my Father I've made known to you. So here's what it means in esteeming them as friends. It means living transparent. It means not trying to only show them certain portions of our lives, but letting them have a window into our world. I've said this, and many others have as well, but I've said this for decades. A shepherd should smell like the sheep. And if we don't smell like them, then we aren't spending enough time with them. And so I might be challenging some old school ministry ethics, but I believe we should be engaged with them. For years, Kim and I have hosted The Link. It's an open house that we do multiple times each year at our home to invite new families, new members into our home. Practically every Sunday, we are looking and taking out a couple, a family, to connect with them on a personal level after services. And the lie is this: if you get too close to people, they won't respect you. And here's what's wrong. Here's why that is wrong. Because I have found the more they know me, the more they love me, the more they spend time with me, the greater respect they have for me. And so we need to be reachable, touchable, transparent. We need to let them into our world. We need to break bread, eat, and fellowship with them. And we need to let our church know that we need friends. And Kim and I don't hide it. When we go out with someone, we're not in secret cognito. We have friends that we've been friends for the last 22 years of this church's existence. We've gone on vacations with church members, with church leadership. We spend time with them. You say, well, what if somebody gets jealous? I just say, hey, I need friends, and we really enjoy their company. Number three, we need to expose our heart and allow ourselves to be vulnerable. You see, if I was literally going to do a physical heart transplant, you have to lay the chest cavity, crack the sternum, get the chest spreader, and lay the chest cavity wide open to take out the old heart and to put in the new heart. And this is one of the most difficult areas for most pastors. But here's what we have to know. If they can't see and experience our heart, they won't believe them. So let them into your world. Someone heard of what I just mentioned, that Kim and I have an open house and inviting. We've had thousands upon literally thousands of people in our home. Another pastor said, well, man, we take a different route home each week so people won't know where we live. Now, here's what's interesting. They pastor a church of 100, and they're trying to conceal where they live out of, I don't know what, fear, not wanting to be bothered. But I have found this: when I set my personal boundaries, I don't let members cross it. Somebody calls my phone in the evenings, I let it go to voicemail. If they say it's an emergency, absolutely they're going to call back. If they call, if it's a friend and they're calling, hey, just wanted to catch up. Hey, this is my time with Kim. When I had kids at home, this is my family time. Can I call you back tomorrow during the day? So we need to be vulnerable. I love the simple verse that we probably all, scripture verse we memorized as a child, that Jesus wept. But here's what I see. Jesus allowed his friends to see his deep hurt and sadness over the death of his friend Lazarus. Let me ask you this. In being vulnerable, some people have said, well, I'm just uncomfortable. If I share with you, another leader, that one of my greatest wounds and hurts of ministry is that an elder, a prayer partner, an accountability partner in my life for years, he knew all the intricacies of my life. My life was an open book. He was a mentor and a counsel to me. He prayed for me. He knew more about me than almost anyone on the planet. And one day he shows up and he says, hey, I think we're going to another church. And my heart was broke. Well, I need you in my world to be a mentor, and you don't like my church, so how can you mentor me? And that relationship was severed. You see, if I'm vulnerable and tell you, I sometimes worry too much about what people think of me. Do you think less of me? When I share that Kim and I have been married for 42 years, but we go to counseling on a regular basis to work out our differences and our challenges. Do you feel less of me? Or do you actually go, wow, I respect that? When I share with you that I was 50 years old until was the first time I ever heard my father voice the words, I love you, Dean. When I'm vulnerable and expose my heart, it endears people to me. It helps people to relate to me, to understand he's normal, she's normal. And it helps them connect and have a heart connection to you. Years ago, I was going to speak at a pastor's conference, and I was speaking along this line and this subject of vulnerability and transparency. And I said to a group of leaders that had gathered, I said, if you could share, these are church members, if you could share at the pastor's conference next week, what would you tell them to reproduce of what you see and like here at Rock Family Church? Here were their comments. The transparency of the pastor and staff. You're approachable. I feel accepted and like my opinion counts. You genuinely care about people. I feel like you care about me and my kids. We love the opportunity to come to the link and to be at your house. There's not an elite club here in this church. We do what we say we will do, and we are who we say we are. We are a family, and we love the value that you place on youth and kids. You don't diss them by disrespecting my kids. Number 4, build bridges, not walls. You see, shepherds that are insecure build walls and boundaries. I need to keep the people out of my life. I'm looking how I can build bridges into theirs. How can I connect and relate with these people? And so I continually ask myself, how can I connect with the various demographic of people that are a part of this church? And versus how can I protect and guard and defend what's happening here? And so I'm myself and my staff, we are in the lobby before services, after services, in between services, and spending time. I love just recently, Pastor Josh is our incoming lead pastor, one of our longtime members. He started in the church when he was 13, and he's now in his 30s. he invited a friend to church, and the guy was like, "Oh, I don't know." And he's like, "No, you got to come meet our new lead pastor. You got to come meet Pastor Josh." And he's like, "Oh, I don't know." He says, "I promise, when you meet him, he's going to invite you to coffee." And the guy's like, "No way." Tyler comes, introduces his friend to Pastor Josh. They're chatting in the lobby a little bit, and suddenly Pastor Josh says, "Well, hey man, I'd love to grab coffee with you sometime and get to know you." Tyler's friend looks at him, slaps him on the shoulder. He says, "This is crazy. You knew he would do that." What was it? Tyler knew the accessibility, the vulnerability, the person of who Pastor Josh was that gave him enough confidence to lay down the gauntlet for his friend to come to church. Then I want to challenge you. Be a hugger. Be a side hugger. Just get into people's zones. Let them, there is a transfer of touch. There is a transfer that happens when we touch other people. And so pride and arrogancy, it's going to drive people away. They can smell it a mile away. But Jesus' disciples, they actually rebuked people who tried to get close to him. Do you remember when some of the people brought their children and to Jesus to bless them? The disciples tried to step in as bodyguards and to push them away. And Jesus said, "Stop. Let these little ones come unto me." And that's the attitude we have to have. Number 5, give people ownership of the vision. I've done this for 45 years. The vision might not be changeable, but the process or the path to get there is. And so I love to invite our staff and our team members to dream with us. It was about a year and a half, 2 years ago. We had some extra income come in, and we said, what do we want to do with it? We want to bless the community. And so I had a contest with our staff and with our church members. If you had $10,000 to invest and impact people in our community, what would you do it? Where would you invest it? And then we took the top 2 or 3 and did those projects in the community. It gave people ownership. Number 6, grow and demonstrate a genuine love for people. I heard a pastor say once, he said, if it wasn't for the people, this would be an incredible job. Well, baby, it's all about being with the people. And here's what I've known. The way I grow and demonstrate a genuine love for people is by spending time with my Heavenly Father. I can't help fall more in love with the people because I'm falling in love with Him. I capture His heart. One of the greatest compliments I've received from a staff member. So we had a staff member leave our church, go and move across the nation to plant a church. And they came back about a year later, and he looked at me and he said, "I want to give you a compliment." He said, "I never really knew how to love people until I worked with you." That's what we want to do, is to teach people. So we're sending cards of appreciation. I'm telling the ushers, thank you for serving. I'm stopping by the nursery and waving and encouraging the nursery volunteers. Our calling defines us. We're shepherds, and we're here to nurture, to care, and to tend, to feed, to love, to hold, and to be with our sheep. Now, I love these stats, and it helped me maybe to recognize my place. 25% of the people won't like you and never will. 25% won't like you, but could be persuaded to. 25% will like you, but could be persuaded not to like you. And the last 25%, they will like you and stand by you no matter what. All right, number 7, convey the value and strength of a team. If we were to put a rope on the front bumper of our bus, the front axle of our bus, and we said to one member, move that bus, we drop it in neutral, they're not going to be able to pull it. But what one can't do, a team of people can easily move that bus. And so it's conveying a heart to people. We care when you're not here. You make us stronger. We want you on our team. We want you to be a part of our family. Number 8, I challenge you to draw your staff into your inner circle. Your staff is going to be your number one supporter and defender, or traitor and defector. I've had my staff defend me. A member will come up and say, I heard Dean said this. They'll say, no, I know Dean. Dean has never talked like that. I don't know where you heard that from, but they can publicly defend me because they know my heart. And so most church splits are by staff members. And it's because the leaders kept them at bay and kept their staff at a distance. And so I view staff members as generals. We have a staff meeting every week. The staff have input, and I have met over the years in my travels many staff members who go, we never have an opportunity to hear the pastor's heart, the vision, or get his direction. And so I have found the more time I spend with my staff, the greater the respect and the trust they have for me. Number 9, honor your staff and take care of them. Maybe you can't pay them as good as corporate, but pay them as good as you possibly can. Recognize their efforts that go above and beyond the call of duty. Bless them with the simple things of when we're doing our Sam's order, we say, hey guys, let us know what your favorite snack is. We want to keep the staff kitchen supplied. And your staff want to see and know, do you see me? Am I making a difference? Do you trust me? And here's our policy. We defend one another in public and we work out our differences in private. And we are committed to speak the best, believe the best, and think the best, accepting nothing less about one another. And so just finding small tokens of appreciation. Maybe it's a gift card. Maybe it's buying Starbucks for the office. And then here's a big one, verbal praise and public recognition. It's going to make a difference. Number 10, look in the mirror. Our people are a direct reflection of who we are. If you don't like the way your church looks, look in the mirror. They resemble us because we are highly contagious individuals. And when we live the vision, people can understand it better. This is where your passion will ignite a fire within the people. I believe the members are a direct reflection of who we are. That our generosity, no one will ever see or know what Kim and I give personally to this church, but I'm setting a bar of high generosity that is highly contagious in our church. Someone once said, if you want revival in your church, go home and draw a 3-foot circle on the floor with chalk. Get in that circle and pray for God to hit that circle with revival, and your church will experience revival. And lastly, communicate the vision. Notice that it's last. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. The vision is communicated when they have our heart, when they are trusting us, when they are following us as a leader. That's when they will run with the vision that we cast before them. Hey, God bless you guys. I pray you have a great upcoming holiday season. We'll see you on December 15th. God bless you.
Thank you for joining us today. For a free sermon series and teaching outlines by Pastor Dean, visit us at deanhawk.com. Be sure and join us next month as we continue our growth on leadership.